This is my workshop module sketchbook, and this kind of began for me on the 19th of September with Joanna Buick coming in and giving us a plaster casting workshop. She gave us a presentation and went through many artists, but then also took us and we did some alginate casting. I'd never used alginate before, so that was really interesting. I just did a very basic, poured some alginate in a plastic cup and stuck my finger in it, but the detail that the alginate picks up is just incredible. So the alginate is the pink, and then once I took my fingers out, I poured plaster into the mould, and then this is what came out. So very good. And I went on then to cast from a cast of my face. So this is something I did in second year at KGS, and I put alginate on it and then recast it in plaster. Just as an example, these are examples that Joanna took through, they're not mine. Then I wanted to cast my abdomen from my surgery in 2019. It's been something that I've wanted to do. It was meant to happen last year and it didn't. So again that day we just did it. There were plenty of people around to help me, because obviously it had to be poured on me and I had to lie still. So these are the two casts from my body, and this is the alginate mother cast. But this is me lying on the floor, getting it done. So that was good fun, but we actually had to put in a support to the alginate because the alginate is quite soft and it would have torn when I stood up. So we had to put a reinforcing cast over the alginate. But these are the casts that I got, and I actually got a second cast from it. Alex cast her eye that day, putting lots of Vaseline on her eyelashes and her eyebrow and over her eye to protect her eye, to ensure that the alginate would remove. I went on to cast some carnations in different ways to see what would work and what wouldn't work. Not very successful, but they're very beautiful, and the detail again that the plaster even picked up was amazing. These weren't so successful, but I decided I would get some resin and put resin in them to see how they work. But these are just some little drawings as I was thinking about flowers and armatures and things and how I would maybe develop something. Again, we got a second PowerPoint from Joanna, and these are just lists of artists that she spoke about that day. We went on and had a second day in the big studio with her, and we took clothes and packed them out with balloons and made them and put form in them, and then dipped the material into plaster. This was Alex and Mia's projects here, but I had actually taken in fishermen's boys to cast flower heads from, because I thought they were going to be flowers. So, and we made an armature and we covered the armature and we made this kind of sea goddess thing. It was good fun, and she's still in the studio, and there's things I really like about her. I tried to pour plaster down one of these dried Keiko sticks, but it didn't work so well. All just experiments to see. This is me putting the resin in, but I couldn't get the resin and the plaster to come apart because the resin had actually formed into the plaster. These are my flower heads, what I thought were going to be flower heads. Explored flesh tones because I want to be more confident in my colour palette. Colin Davidson shared his flesh tone mixing on Facebook from April in 2020, and I went back and watched that again, and I also found Jenny Savile's expressive, very expressive colour palette for her work, so that was really good. That's very informative, and I did some painting later. We had a wonderful lecture from Paul Bloomer on the 25 lessons in art, and that was just really inspiring to see his work. Art to Life, went back to that. I'd done it previously, but I went back to it to think about value of colours, temperatures, harmony, composition, and etc. Found this wonderful artist, Marianne Hayes, who was quite inspired by. I love her colour palette here, and also the way that she's using writing within her work. I began to think about my flowers actually as cups and the Ace of Cups, so the Ace of Pentacles, or something regarding the tarot, and that was where when that changed from being a flower head to a cup. I am very fortunate to have 6 wonderful grandchildren, and they're all very creative, and I was up in West Street and we did a Viking making day, and we made shields, well 2 days actually, helmets and swords. Lots of paint, lots of cardboard and lots of sellotape. So I really had enjoyed that. Second workshop day with my grandchildren, we did painting. I took up nice paints and nice brushes, and they did some painting, and while they were painting I drew them, so that was really good. Nice fun. Again, here is Paul Bloomer's lessons, 25 lessons in art. Lovely, strong charcoal drawings that I was very drawn to. Large scale, fantastic, just wonderful. Ace of Cups drawings, research, thinking about that in terms of what I have to offer, my cup of love. Explored flesh tones, some of them are a bit scary, but then thinking about taking these flesh tones into the landscape. And here's my stone shapes again, just doing that. Here's more stone shapes, but here is the landscape, again in flesh tones. More mosaic. I painted up each of these different colours and cut them up, and then I weaved these landscapes, composed them intentionally, the colours. Looking at resin, I asked Emma Grieve to help me with resin because she's done a lot of work, so she did a kind of very quick one-to-one overlay with information to me, and then and I looked at what she had done and aspired to try and do some resin work as well. And then I was thinking about how I was going to paint my plaster, thinking about the cups I wanted to cast my hand. So I made this mold. This is the alginate, and this is the alginate that was left over, so I ended up with 2 hands, a right and a left, and cast all of those. Here are my cups, and I'm beginning to PVA them so that the paint doesn't soak in so much, so I kind of put a layer on them. My hands coming out with a mold, they were fantastic, so detailed, it's crazy. I researched how to make paper clay. One of my fellow NC students told me about paper clay, and something that I will research and make. Never done paper stretching before properly, so I looked online to find out about paper stretching and followed jacksonsart.com for that. And then Unison pastels, they are so beautiful. The artist John Hershey created these pastels, wonderful pastels, and they still continue to make them. Thousands or millions or something in the year. It's amazing, but they're quite expensive, but they're very beautiful. So research then how you would make your own pastel, and I hope to make my own pastels. Trying to bring my plaster castings, etc., to some sort of resolved place. Working on my hands and working on the cups. Thinking about pentacles. How would I decorate it? Do I put resin into them and mixed in different colours? Made these glitter stars, but ended up not using them. Painted my hands and my abdomen in the flesh tones that I'd researched, and they're beginning to come together here. Setting my cups on my hands as my offering, and then I did a copper plate workshop with Diana Leslie last weekend. That was fantastic, really enjoyed it. These are the pieces that I took for information. This is my working out for the tones of the aqua tint. This is the information. These are pictures of some of the more things that you need to have, and just the working of my plates. It's wonderful. So we did a very basic etching plate, then we did an aqua tint plate. This is it here, all the different layers. I did 4 tones, so that's 4 dips, and it's just a beautiful thing in its own right. And then the others went on and did dry pointing, but I was tired by that time, I didn't have the energy for it. Really trying to resolve my cup pieces in some thoughts here. On the 26th, 29th, on Wednesday I did a lantern workshop with Rona's NC class. That was fantastic, learned a lot of skills there. these are my pieces, and this is my final piece then. This is kind of how we worked through. So those are my workshoppings that I've done. Thank you.